All right, let's jump right into one of the most bizarre, truly mind-bending mysteries of the human brain. We're going to explore a condition that really shakes up our whole idea of self-awareness, a genuine blind spot in our own minds. Just take a second and really think about that question. I mean, it sounds completely impossible, doesn't it? It's a glitch so deep that a person can lose something as fundamental as moving their own arm and have absolutely zero idea that it's happened. And this isn't just some thought experiment. This is a real-life scenario that neurologists encounter. Imagine it. A person's arm is lying completely useless by their side, but inside their head, in their personal reality, everything is working just fine. Well, this baffling phenomenon, it has a name. We're talking about a condition called anosognosia. And it's so important to understand what this is, and maybe even more important, to understand what it isn't. So here's the absolute key takeaway. Anosognosia is a problem with self-awareness that's caused by physical damage to the brain. The person isn't just being stubborn or in denial, their brain is literally physically incapable of recognizing that something is wrong. And the name itself gives us a massive clue. If you break down the ancient Greek roots, it literally translates to without disease knowledge. It's a lack of knowledge, a true blind spot created by the very same injury that caused the disability in the first place. Now, this is probably the most critical distinction to make. This is not denial. Denial is a psychological coping strategy. It's like closing your eyes to a painful truth that on some level you know is there. Anosognosia is a neurological disorder. The information about the problem just isn't getting through. It's not on the radar. So how on earth does this actually happen? How can the brain's own self-monitoring system just fail so completely? Let's use an analogy to make this a little clearer. This really paints the perfect picture, doesn't it? The paralyzed limb, that's the broken engine. But the part of your brain that's supposed to flash that big red warning signal, the dashboard light, well, that's broken too. So as far as the driver, the patient, is concerned, the car's running smooth as silk. And this isn't just a vague, abstract problem. Neuroscience has actually pinpointed where this broken dashboard is often located. Anosognosia is most commonly linked to damage in the right hemisphere of the brain, usually in an area called the parietal lobe, which is super important for how we build our sense of self and our body in space. Now, you might be thinking, this must be an incredibly rare, 1 in a million kind of thing, right? Well, get this. It's estimated that somewhere between 10 and 18% of patients who have an acute stroke will experience some form of anosognosia. It's actually a surprisingly common part of brain injury. And it's not always about paralysis. This very strange lack of awareness can latch on to a whole range of different neurological issues. I mean, just look at this list. The condition is incredibly versatile and not in a good way. It can mess with our most basic abilities, from moving our limbs to processing what we feel, to our memory, and even our ability to understand what people are saying. This is a classic, almost textbook thing a neurologist might hear. The brain doesn't get the error signal, so it does the next best thing. It makes up a plausible story to explain the situation. It confabulates. Oh, it's not broken, it's just resting. Or can you just imagine the sheer frustration of this? A patient with a language issue might be speaking words that don't make sense together, but be totally unaware of it. From their perspective, they're making perfect sense, and you're the one who's having trouble understanding. And here is where it gets even more fascinating. The brain's awareness systems aren't an all-or-nothing thing. There's this phenomenon called double dissociation, which means a patient might be completely oblivious to their paralyzed arm, but at the very same time be totally aware of a different problem, like their tendency to ignore everything on their left side. It's like specific warning lights can burn out, while others keep on shining. So, all of this leads us to the final, and maybe most difficult piece of the puzzle, treatment. And this presents a massive, almost philosophical challenge for everyone involved. This is the ultimate catch-22, right? Physical therapy, any kind of rehabilitation, requires you to be on board, to be motivated. But if your brain is telling you loud and clear that there's nothing wrong, why would you ever put in the work to fix a problem you don't even believe you have? Clinicians see this weird split. There's what they call offline awareness. That's what a patient says if you ask them directly on a form. They'll check the box that says, I'm fine. But then there's online awareness, which is what they do when you put them on the spot. Some tiny flicker of knowledge seems to bubble up. And here's the perfect example of that. A patient will insist their left arm works perfectly, but then you ask them to clap their hands, and they won't say, I can't. No, instead they'll say something like, nah, I don't really feel like it, or my shoulder's a little stiff today. The brain creates an excuse to avoid a reality it just can't compute. So the whole approach to therapy has to change. You just can't argue with the patient or try to force them to see the truth. You're arguing with a reality their brain is physically generating. Instead, the first and most important step is just to build trust, to create an alliance, and to gently guide them through tasks without forcing a big confrontation. In the end, anosognosia leaves us with this really profound question. We all operate on the assumption that our brain gives us a pretty accurate picture of who we are and the world around us. But this condition is a powerful reminder that our sense of self is a delicate construction. It's a story the brain tells itself, and sometimes whole chapters of that story can be ripped out, and we'd never even know they were gone.